Hi friends, it's Heather with Running with Scissors, and today we are painting August 2024 door hanger number 23 of Dashing Doors. And it's this cute little scarecrow. How cute did that turn out? So let's get started. Okay, so here's the colors that we're going to use. So of course, always any white, any black. I am going to do red apple and bright yellow, harvest orange with a little bit of modification possibly. I might add a little bit of the red apple to that. And I also might add a bit of white. I'm not really sure. I just know that I don't love the harvest orange, okay? Warm beige, that's going to be for my scarecrow's face. Pink Parfait, y'all know by now I hate all of the pinks, so I end up just using it as a base and making my own. This is just for his cheeks anyway, so I'm sure I'll end up adding quite a bit of white to that. Alternately, you can always just use your red and add white to make your pink. So I have Sunset Gold that I'm going to use with the bright yellow for his straw hair. I have Tiger Lily in here as well. Mostly to offset that harvest orange, because again, I don't love that harvest orange. And then I have Caribbean for his neckerchief, and I'm going to use white with that as well. So once again, any colors you want, you use, okay? Make sure you have a variety of brushes, 2 water cups, a tray or a paper plate, some paper towel. Baby wipes are always handy. You have your goodie bag, which has a whole bunch of ribbons in it, and your hanger, and it also has some beads in it because we're going to use beads on this one. You can look at the picture and see what we did with those. You'll need a pair of scissors, of course, and the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to flood this backer board with white, and I'm going to do 2 coats of white, all right? 2 coats of white, and then we're going to come back here once our white is dry and we are ready to get started painting the colors. We'll see you in a minute. Okay, so we're back with our foundation white and it's dry. And now we are going to paint, first we're going to paint his face. And I'm not going to worry about going around a whole lot of stuff here. I'm just going to paint over it, and then we'll come back and we'll paint right over top of that. So I am going to paint his face with the warm beige. Okay, here we go. I'm using a 1/2 inch, so that would be equivalent to about a 10, I think. And it is an angle brush, but you can use a flat brush as well. You can see I'm painting right over top of where the hair is gonna go for the yellow. I don't think it's gonna make much of a difference, so I'm just gonna paint right over top of it. Same with the neckerchief. I'm not painting the whole entire thing, but I'm not really focused on staying in the lines all that much. Now up here, I'm going to try to stay away from that area along the brim or the belt of the hat there, because I know a lot of that is white and I don't want to have to paint back over that with white. I'm just going back over some areas that are a little lighter so I don't have to put a full second coat on if I don't need it. Now, if I happen to have trouble covering these areas that I've painted over, I will put a little pop-up message before you guys get started so you know whether or not to avoid those, so you don't make a mistake if I made a mistake. All right, that looks good to me. I don't think it will need a second coat either, because I tried to go back over top of some of the thinner areas. So I think that will be good. This color is drying very quickly. Acrylics usually take a little bit longer to dry, especially compared to the paint that we use in the studio. But this morning it's drying very quickly. Okay. All right, so next up in line would be yellow. We're gonna give this a minute to dry though. So I'm just gonna move down and work on the neckerchief. This is the only thing that's gonna be that Caribbean blue. So we'll just do that real quick. That Caribbean blue is actually a little lighter than I wanted, so I am gonna grab it in some Tuscan teal. Now the Tuscan teal is just a little too dark, so I'm gonna mix the two together. So you can see I have on my plate. I'm just gonna mix those two together. Perfect. All right, we're definitely gonna need 2 coats on that, so we're gonna let that dry. We're just gonna move on to other things though. We'll clean our brush and we'll come back to that second coat in a little while. We're gonna move on up to the hat up here. I am gonna do that in that that Tiger Lily orange. And I think I'm actually gonna use that straight on the hat. I might whip in some yellow throughout there. I'm not 100% sure yet, so we'll see. And the crow is gonna be black, so I'm just gonna paint right over top of the crow, with the exception of by the feet. Not completely, I'm just not gonna worry about the lines. So like here, like I don't care if I overlap the line of the crow right there, but down by his feet I will not, because I know that yellow covers a little bit harder. Yep, so see, this orange is just a little too orange for my liking. So I'm gonna put 1 coat on here just to get the white covered, but when I come back with another coat, I'm gonna throw some yellow in there. Okay, we're gonna let that orange dry and we're gonna revisit our face. I see that I am not getting the complete coverage that I thought I was gonna get. So I'm gonna go back in and I'm just gonna touch up some of those areas where I don't have all the coverage I would like with the beige there. So I'm gonna come in and just grab some of those areas that look a little light. Okay, we're gonna get our second coat on our neckerchief. All right, and let's flip back and go back to our hat. And I'm going to put some of the bright yellow on my plate, right next to my orange, because I'm going to mix it in. And I'm not gonna worry about getting a solid color on this, okay? So if you see streaks of yellow and streaks of orange, I'm intending to leave it that way. Okay, and let me see if I can give you a little bit more of a close-up here. Okay, and there's a bit of a close-up of how that looks. Looks kind of messy right now for sure, but more I want to show you the mix between the yellow and the orange and how it's not completely mixed in. All right. I'm gonna rinse out my brush there. I'm gonna put some of that apple red or red apple on my plate, and I'm also going to put some of the sunset gold right next to it. So I've got the red, yellow, and sunset gold all there together because I'm going to do my patches next. Okay, so let's turn this around. I need a smaller brush, probably like a 5. I'm gonna start, I'm gonna yawn first. I'm gonna start with the yellow. And I'm going to paint this larger, the square, not the rectangle, the square yellow. And yep, I'm overlapping on the red, that's okay. That yellow covers so nice when there's a white foundation underneath it. All right, I'm not even gonna wait for this to be dry. I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take my same brush that I'm using and I'm gonna dip it in a little bit of that darker yellow, what is that called, sunset. And I'm gonna come around the outside edges of that patch. Try not to get on your hat like I just did. And then we're just gonna feather that darker yellow into that lighter yellow. If you have to come back and grab a little bit of the lighter yellow on your brush, go ahead and do that. Just so you are blending that in. Sometimes a light touch will go a long way, okay? Okay. All right, let me show you up close how that ends up. So you're going to see the light yellow in the middle, and then it just darkens out along the edges there. It's subtle. It's there. You'll be able to see it much more when it dries. Okay, once I turned it around, we're going to move on to the red. I'm just wiping the excess paint out of my brush on my napkin. I'm not going to clean my brush. I'm just going to grab that red, and I'm going to come in and paint the rectangle patch. Now I want the red to be a little bit darker along the edges, so I'm going to squirt a tiny bit of black on my plate in just a minute here, and I'll darken up just a bit of that red, and we're going to do the same thing that we did with the yellow patch. All right, so first we're covering this whole patch with red. And then we're gonna grab some black. You only need a drop, like a pea size. And grab that edge and just mix in. You don't even need a pea size, you need literally a drop. And that's way too much paint. You don't even need that much paint. And we're just gonna come around the outside edges. And then we're gonna grab our straight red again and come in and just blend it together. Okay, and we're gonna let that dry. And then we're gonna grab, we need a small brush because we're gonna do the legs on the crow. And you're gonna wanna stay in the lines. Okay. And then we're going to do his beak, and I'm not cleaning my brush. I'm just wiping the excess paint off on a napkin, and I'm gonna grab a little bit of, I still have that, what's it called? I'm still using the Tiger Lily orange, but you may want to switch over to the Harvest orange so it's not as dark for his beak. I have yellow right next to my Tiger Lily, so it's kind of just all mixed there. You can see me in the corner down here, kind of mixing it all together just to get that a little bit later. All right, there's that. And now we are going to do the nose of the Scarecrow because we're working on orange. And I do want this more of the Tiger Lily color, but once again, because I have that yellow right there, I'm just grabbing both of the colors. We're gonna let that dry, and that's gonna need another coat. And we are going to move on to the cheeks. Now I'm gonna put this pink parfait on my plate. I'm only gonna put a tiny bit, and I'm gonna put a good amount of white next to it, maybe about a nickel size. And then I'm gonna mix those together until I get a light pink. Now I'm not grabbing all that pink because I don't want all of it. I just want a light pink for his cheeks. But we're going to use some dark pink as well along the outside, but first we want to concentrate on the pink. And that is a perfect shade of pink for me. You do whatever you want to do. I'm just gonna grab a 5/8 flat brush here and grab some of that pink paint, and I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna come over his cheeks. Now, if I feel like right now I'm gonna have a hard time covering this, I'm gonna let you know, and then I'm gonna go back and put that pop-up. Now, by now, you would have seen it, so I think it's gonna be fine. All right, let that dry, and we'll see how a second coat covers. All right, we're gonna give his cheeks a second coat, then we're gonna go back to the second coat on the nose. Okay, so if I could give you some advice going backwards, it's a little late now. I am going to put a pop-up in there. I think I would avoid getting that beige in the cheeks and most likely the hair, even though I haven't done the hair yet. I suspect I'm probably going to have a little bit of a problem. So, again, you'll have seen the pop-up already in the beginning and probably didn't make this mistake, but use this as a learning experience that sometimes, even after you've painted 50 door hangers, you can make a mistake. And I didn't think I would have a problem there, and I should have rethought that because it did not cover as well as I would have liked it to cover, and I had to work with it a little bit. So don't depend on a lighter color acrylic covering a darker color. So yeah, don't make that mistake. Okay, we got to do the hair next before we move on to our black. This guy's moving right along. He's painting up very nicely and very quickly. I suspect that I'm going to have some problems with the hair because I had such a problem with the pink there. I'm not 100% sure. I'm gonna try it first. You're gonna see what kind of mistakes I make here. So I'm gonna use a number 4 angle brush on this stuff, and I'm gonna start with that darker yellow, that color I can never remember the name of, Sunset Gold. And funny, it's totally not covering terribly. It's actually covering quite well. And apparently it's just the pink. Yes, this I keep wanting to call it King's Gold. This Sunset Gold covered very, very nicely. It will need a second coat, as most yellows do. I'm going to put a second coat in there in a minute, and then I'm going to end up mixing a little bit of the bright yellow in it to just add some pizzazz to the hair there. But while we wait for all of that to dry, I'm going to go back and I'm going to put that second coat on the nose. And then I'm going to grab a little bit of that straight Tiger Lily and just go around the outside edges. And then I'm going to grab the little bit of the Tiger Lily with the yellow and come in the center here and kind of just feather it in. Cute. I like it. All right. Now I did notice I have a little spot here that I want to try and touch up. And I think that will be just fine. All right, now we are waiting on that yellow of the hair to dry. I'm gonna work on the scarf again, the neckerchief. So I'm gonna add a little bit of white to my 2 blue mix colors there in the corner that I used for that neckerchief. And I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. I don't really know what my plan is. I think I'm just gonna go along the outside edges, just in from the outside. So I'm grabbing a little bit of white and blue here, and I'm gonna mix it up just so I get a little bit lighter shade. And I'm just going to do this. All right, and then on this part here, we're just gonna make it look a little bit plaid. So we're gonna just stripe it on the diagonal. Cute. That one got a little off, but that's okay. All right. And I'm not gonna do that to the little tied area, so we'll just leave that go. Our hair is ready for its second coat, so let's move back over to that. All right, now while that's still wet, we're gonna grab a little bit of that bright yellow, and we're just gonna come and swoop that in. Okay, just like that. And then we're gonna leave that. We're done with that now. So the hair, the yellow for the hair, the straw, covered just fine over that face color. And the cheeks, they did cover hard. So, you know, totally, once again, I would not cover those with that beige of the face and then try to cover it with the pink. That just created more problems for me. But in the end, it's okay. It looks okay. So we're going to come back to the cheeks now. If you remember when I started, I said that I was going to leave a little bit of that pink on my plate, not mixed, because I wanted a little bit darker of an edge. So I'm going to grab a little bit of that pink and then a little bit of the lighter mixed pink, and I'm going to just come around the outside edge, not the whole entire thing. And you've seen me do this before, but I'm going to take my finger and I'm just going to blend that in. Now I just grabbed a little bit of the lighter color pink and I'm just blending it with my finger. You can do it with a brush too, but tell you, a finger's really easy. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other one. Just like that. This one I think needs a little bit more blend in. And that's it. Okay. So now we can move on. His eyes right through here, I'm going to do with a paint marker instead of trying to do that with the brush. I would do it, if I were you, I would just do it with a paint marker. We're going to paint the crow in the stripes of the hat next. The crow is going to be painted black, and I am just going to use a number 7 angle brush for that. And some of my black paint. I'm going to do the crow first. I'm going to go around the eyes and around the beak and around the legs. All right, we're gonna let that dry and we're gonna move on to our stripes. Black, white, black, white, black, white, black, white, black, white. All right, using the same brush, and I'm just going to paint on the stripes, every other one, black, white. Right, there's our stripes. So now we're gonna go back to our crow, and we're going to touch up anything that needs to be touched up with the black. It probably won't need a full second coat, but I can just see where I missed, and there are some white spots. So just fill that in. And then the same with the stripes, just hit anything that it is showing white spots. Okay. All right, that's it for what we are going to paint. So now we're going to start working on the final details. Keep your paint tray. Mine's a little messy, but I'm going to keep it just in case I want to use some of that for any accents that I want to do. But the remainder here, we're going to be using a paint marker on. All right, so we make sure everything's dry, okay, before you start. And usually we outline everything. On this one, I don't think we're going to. I'm not 100% sure yet. You already know what I did, but right now I'm just going to start with the chin to the, or the face to the neckerchief. So for his nose, I'm just going to come in and do some stitch marks. And we don't want that those perfectly straight, so you can go ahead and jagged them. And we're also going to do that on his eyebrows. Okay, and then I didn't think I was gonna outline his cheeks, but I think I'm going to. So we're gonna go ahead and outline the cheeks. All right, and then we've got to give him a mouth, which we did give you a guide for a mouth there. I don't love it, I'll be honest with you. I wish it was more like, you know, jaggedy. So you can either follow that line and just make a straight mouth, or you can give him more of a jaggedy look. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put these lines in there because that's the edge of the mouth. But when I come in for his mouth, I'm gonna do some swoops like that. And then I'm gonna come in and I'm just gonna go like this. So we've got that look, okay? I love it, it's so cute. Okay, we're gonna keep going. So we have to clean this area up right here. We're gonna just paint marker along that. And we're gonna do the same up top here. Don't go across his legs. And then we're gonna do each of the stripes. Just cleaning up that edge of each one of those. Careful around the feet. The feet are quite small. We'll have to go around those in a minute. I'm gonna switch over to number 3 for the feet, okay? So just switch from your number 5 to your number 3, just so it's a little narrower. And try to get the outside edge. Okay. And then we can switch back to our number 5. And we'll come back to the crow in a second. First, we're going to do our patches. All right. And we are going to take our number 3 again. And we're going to go just a little inside. And then we're going to take our number 5, and then we're just going to do the stitch marks. Remember, don't make them straight. A professional seamstress did not make this. Okay, there's his patches. And now we are going to take, and we're going to go around the crow, and then we'll do the white marker details, okay? So we're just going to go around the outside edge of the crow just to clean that up. You don't have to worry about the inside because you won't be able to see that. And we're going to go over that with some white. We're just cleaning up the outside edges. Okay. And then we are going to take our paint marker and we're going to go all the way around the outside. Okay, there's along our outside edges. And we're going to switch over to our number 3 again, our number 3 black, and we're going to finish the eyes and the beak of the crow here. Okay, and then we're gonna grab our white paint marker, which, white. All right, get your white primed and working good. And we're just gonna throw some white around the crow. Here we wanna do his body. So let's go ahead and we'll just do like this. And we'll do his head. And then we'll do his feathers. And then we're gonna come do the wings, but we're gonna do a curly Q, like that. Okay. I wish I would have made that go out a little bit further, but I missed it, so that's okay. And then we're just gonna come and we're gonna land a little dot of white in the middle of each of those eyes. We might go back and do that with regular paint, because paint marker, white paint marker doesn't always cut it. Okay, nope, let's go along the hat here, the brim, and let's just draw a border. Just inside your black. Oh, I see I missed one spot of that stripe there. I'm just gonna grab that with a black paint marker. You guys probably realized I missed that. Okay. I think, oh, I gotta get between his little chicken legs there. Let's grab a paintbrush and a paint tray, and I got a little bit of white left here. No, I lied. No, I don't. It's got pink in it. I'm just going to put a little tiny drop of white there. And we're going to use the wrong end of a paintbrush. And we're going to dot his eyes. All right. Guys, I think that's it. Okay, nice. We're going to let that dry. But while it's drying, we're going to grab our goodie bag. And you'll have a thin piece of jute. And I'm just going to take and string beads onto it. On each end, I'm going to string one of each color. So there's one end, and I'm just going to tie a couple knots in the end of it so that they can't come off. And then on the other side, I'm going to string the beads on as well. I'm going to try to mix up the order a little bit. And then before I tie that one off, I'm going to come and find a reasonable length that I want it to hang from. Yeah, that's probably good. And so then I'm just going to tie a knot at the other end of the beads there, probably 3, so the beads can't come off. And then I'm going to trim both of those knots. And then you have your beads like this. And I'm going to adjust them so that they hang about like that. All right, about like that. And I'm just going to loop. I'm going to make an overhand knot in the end and bring the knot real close. That way I just have that like little loop there. And I'll put that in my bow somehow. All right, so let's take a look at our ribbons. You have a couple pieces of burlap ribbon. I'm gonna roll those, fold those up like a taco and trim from the folded edge out towards the corner on both sides. Mine are a little long, so I'm gonna cut that a little bit shorter. Okay, and then you've got your 2.5-inch ribbons, same thing, just fold them up like a taco and cut from the folded edge up and out on both sides. And then we will make our, I think I'm gonna do mine like this time. Nope, thought I might. Okay, that's how that's gonna go. And then I'm just gonna lay these in there. Like that. And I'm gonna loop big zip tie around everything. And before I cinch it, I'm going to slide that loop on that free edge of the zip tie there. And then I will zip it closed. I'm gonna flip it over here so I can make sure that the zip goes in the middle. And that my ribbons are fanning out okay. This is kind of a thick bunch, so you might have to work it just a little bit. All right, now before we get that all zipped down real tight, we're gonna slide that other little zip tie in. And then we'll tighten that big zip tie down. And we will trim it off. Okay, now take your thicker jute. One end through each of the door hanger holes. And bring those loops together, or those ends together, and those loops up. Mark your spot and tie an overhand knot. Knot to the end back by the hole there, and then you're going to wrap your zip tie around both pieces of that jute hanger and cinch your zip tie. Tighten it down and then trim the excess tail off. And then there you have it. He turned out really cute. I have to tell you, not exactly like I had it in my head, but he is adorable. All right, friends, thanks a lot. We will see you next month.